Okay, I'm back. Here I am again. Okay, so here is episode 3 in the series on Miss Anderson has a lot of stuff to tell you today. So here we go. You guys just finished, I hope, having a really good discussion about issues. Now, I know, like, if I was there, I'd be like pushing you to talk about more issues. And, for the most part, you guys are a great class. Both of my classes on my B and D days are really strong classes. So I suspect that you guys probably did have some good discussion. And the thing I really just want to hit on with you guys is to talk about, how important it is that we flush out good issues for the sort of development of our issues that will become our bills. Issues are, when you think about the question that I asked you to talk about was like, what problems are there that need to be solved? There are so many problems that need to be solved. And politicians look at these problems kind of differently. So, you have topics from rape to, global warming to, nuclear energy, to the national debt, the economy, those kinds of things. I mean, there's a whole broad range of topics that you could be covering. But each party is going to look at them really differently. So when you look at an issue, say like alternative energy sources, when you guys are starting to generate your issues within your caucuses, which will take place on Monday, what you need to do is you need to ask yourself, what would a Republican piece of legislation look like about this issue? And that's the other thing. I've joked about like the Crocs, like whether or not, Crocs should make high heel shoes or whatever. Okay, we've had this like discussion about this. The reason why you want to avoid issues like that is you want to be looking for topics where there is a legislative potential, where there is possibly some law that could be written that would make some sense. So looking at an issue like alternative energy sources, how would a Republican look at that? How would a Democrat look at that? Democrats might say, what we need to do? The federal government needs to actually invest in more companies that are creating new forms of energy, maybe giving money to companies that are developing wind energy or developing solar energy. So let's give grant money to these companies. And the Republicans might say that's not how we would approach it. We think instead, why don't we give tax breaks to companies that are already creating cleaner burning energy sources, companies that are doing things like, fracking or gathering underground natural gas sources by using high pressure water that's pushing the gas out from these underground sources. And we should give tax breaks to companies that are already doing that. I mean, that's an example of an issue that really can be approached from two really particularly different perspectives. And so when you're looking at issues, because that's what the whole purpose of talking about these issues is to really look at how can my caucus, how can my legislative work be focused on an issue that I care about and focused on that party's goals, okay? So that's one thing I just want to remind you guys of as you're sort of generating these ideas and thinking about these issues. The other thing you want to do is you want to look at some of these issues might seem kind of straightforward and simple, like, well, okay, let's take the issue of rape, right? That's a social issue. It's a social problem. It might be one of the issues you guys brainstormed as you were sort of generating ideas about what are some problems that need to be solved. And sometimes kids will say, well, it's a problem, rape is bad. Like what kind of law could possibly be written about that? But there's lots of ways you can approach this. One of the things that I would say is ask yourself, what are some of the laws that currently exist with regards to sexual assault that might need to be amended or changed, right? And what are some of the things that maybe we don't like about the way that these laws work? One of the topics that you guys might find interesting is that the laws regarding juveniles and sex, you may or may not know that people under the age of 18 cannot give consent to have sex. It's against the law. You just can't. Whether or not you are in a relationship with someone, whether your parents know about it, you legally cannot give consent to engage in sexual intercourse. Well, for some people, especially teenagers, that seems like, oh, that seems sort of strange to say that I can't consent to have sex. So, okay, so there's an issue of law that you might want to write a bill to sort of re-legislate that. To say, well, maybe with parent consent, or maybe at 16, maybe the age is too, whatever, you might want to. So even taking an issue like that, that seems, frankly, kind of straightforward, you might ultimately write a piece of legislation that deals with that sort of just in a unique and new way, okay? So as you're brainstorming and discussing in your groups and thinking about like what are the issues that really are problems that need to be solved, think about all the different ways you can look at them. And really think about how those caucuses and those groups that you're a part of might approach those issues. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. And just start thinking about these issues and start thinking about them in terms of your issue posts that you're doing on Moodle too. And don't forget that Sunday night, those posts are due for people with letters A through M. And that's kind of, again, like I said to you guys, it's the method to the madness. That's why we're having you do those issues posts, to get you kind of thinking about these issues and researching them. So, make this issue post in your responses this week, make them maybe focused on some of this stuff that you might be interested in to help you with starting that research. So, okay, I think that's it for this. I have one more video that you have to watch. Just one. That's it. Just one more. I'll see you in a little bit to talk about school vouchers. Okay, bye.